So back in January, Kevin McCarthy warned that he would remove lawmakers after Democratic leadership stripped Republicans Marjorie Taylor Greene and Paul Gosar from committee posts. We all remember it. They stripped Marjorie Taylor Greene, they stripped Paul Gosar from committee posts because of their involvements and their pro-Trump rhetoric following the January 6th Capitol riots. So Kevin McCarthy now came out and said, listen, you better believe we're going to do the same thing now. We are going to toss people that we don't believe should be on these committees. And right now, day one, he's come out swinging saying we're getting rid of Adam Schiff, Ilhan Omar, and we're also going to toss Eric Swalwell, who we all know were compromised. Well, Ilhan Omar for anti-Semitic remarks, Eric Swalwell because he can't even get clearance, security clearance in the public sector. So why should he get it in the private sector? So why should he get it in the public sector? And Adam Schiff because he's just a liar and he's got a personal vendetta against Republicans and he can't be trusted. He's compromised. Kevin McCarthy needs to do more than just talk, though. He needs to follow through. He needs to actually do it now. He's got a real opportunity here to come out and make some changes. This is his opportunity to prove that he's not the moderate rhino that us conservatives think he is. Here's Kevin McCarthy. Let's see what he has to say.
Congressman, let me ask you about your decisions. Should you become this in January, what are you going to do in terms of these Democrats that you have on such important committees? You've talked in the past about removing Ilhan Omar. You've talked about removing Adam Schiff, about Eric Swalwell. Will you deliver?
Yes, I will. I'll keep that promise. And one thing I said from the very beginning, Eric Swalwell cannot get a security clearance in the public sector. Why would we ever give him a security clearance in the secrets to America? So I will not allow him to be on Intel. You have Adam Schiff, who had lied to the American public time and again. We will not allow him to be on the Intel committee either. And you look, Congresswoman Omar, her anti-Semitic comments that have gone forward. We're not going to allow her to be on foreign affairs. But we're also going to stand up to what's happening, not just in the halls in Congress, but what's happening into our higher education institutions. The anti-Semitism that's going on these campuses and others. We will investigate that as well and stop this to make sure that America does have the freedom that we said we would keep, and we will stand up to it as we move forward.
So I think, two key takeaway here to the insanity of what's going on here is the fact that we have Eric Swalwell, who is on our Intel committee, who we can't trust in the private sector. And I agree with Kevin McCarthy's remarks there. If we can't trust him in the private sector, how the hell are we giving him access to America's secrets? So he's the first one that needs to be tossed. Adam Schiff, who constantly lies to the American people, again, on the Intel committee. Very biased, has a vendetta against Donald Trump and every conservative who goes against what Adam Schiff believes. And we all know it's a very far left radical agenda. So he needs to go. Ilhan Omar we're going after, and we're going to kick her off the Foreign Affairs Committee due to her anti-Semitic remarks, and rightly so. He said, last year, I promised that when I became Speaker, I would remove Rep. Ilhan Omar from the House Foreign Affairs Committee based on her repeated anti-Semitic and anti-American remarks. And he tweeted that again on Saturday, sharing a video with his remarks. Here's Kevin McCarthy at the Republican coalition, or the Jewish coalition here in Las Vegas over the weekend, saying, I made that promise and I'm going to keep that promise.
I made another promise to you last time. There was this congresswoman, Ilhan Omar. That's a rightful boo. I remember what she said about me. I remember what she said about Israel. Remember what she said about the relationship. I remember it so much I promised you last year that as Speaker, she no longer would be on foreign affairs. And I'm keeping that promise now.
So there's McCarthy telling the Republican Jewish coalition members of the audience there he's going to keep that promise. Now, Kevin McCarthy needs to do more than just talk, though. He actually has to keep it. Omar, who's been a very outspoken critic of Israel, comparing the Jewish state and the U.S. to Hamas and Taliban terrorist organizations. So she said Israel are terrorists. She's compared Israel to Hamas and Taliban terrorist organizations. She's also proposed a boycott, divestment, and sanctions bill against Israel. Allies of the United States. Very hateful, very resentful comments against Israel. So now it's time for Kevin McCarthy to do what he said he was going to do, especially after the Democrats kicked off Marjorie Taylor Greene, after her remarks and her actions and her pro-Trump stance after the January 6th Capitol riots. So we're going to see if McCarthy actually holds these three liable for everything that they've done.